Reddit. What is the worst injury you have experienced while playing on your Wii U without using the wrist strap? I blinded my brother in one eye. I was playing Wii tennis and ended up flinging it across the room, straight into his right eye. You know that part in Nacho Libre when some guy gets corn on the cob thrown into his eye socket? It was a lot like that, minus the sticking in there. Fricked up a bunch of nerves and such in his eye and he hasn't been able to see out of it since. In Mario Party 8, there's a minigame where you have to shake a can of soda as fast as possible so when the character opened it, the person that got the stream the highest one, you basically had to jerk off the Wiimote. My palm began to sweat, the Wiimote slipped and hit me in the eye, giving me a blackie. So the remote literally came in your eye. During an intense Wii baseball game, I tried to throw it as fast as the game could let me. I let go of the Wii remote and put a hole in my window. My dad made me pay for it. I was 12 at the time. This is going completely opposite of the question, but a friend of mine tried throwing his Wii remote in a fit of rage playing Smash Bros one day with the wrist strap on and it swung back around and clocked him in the face. See now, I never hurt myself without using the strap. I hurt myself with a strap. I whacked myself in the face when the Wii remote swung into my nose. When I was playing Wii tennis, I got into the game pretty badly, and when I swung pretty hard, I stepped on a piece of paper, slipped, and broke my jaw. I fail to see how having the strap on your wrist would have prevented that. There are several reasons we are not allowed to play the Wii as a family anymore. One weekend my family and I decided to go down to our lake house and I brought my Wii along. I was in a bedroom playing Wii bowling. My dad wanted to try it so we started a new game. Halfway through the game my dad wasn't wearing the wrist strap. The next thing we know, there's a Wii remote stuck in the television. My brother was home from college and we wanted to try out the Wii. We started playing Wii tennis. My brother starts to serve and our dad was standing in the doorway. My brother hit our dad in the nuts. That's why we play the Wii with the door closed now. My mom, dad, brother, his girlfriend, our great aunt, and I were playing Wii bowling one night. My great aunt is a Wii bowling pro. Everyone else was having fun and doing a pretty good job, except for my brother. My brother is a type of personality and thinks he has to be good at everything. He was getting frustrated that he was in last place even though no one was really paying attention to the score. His girlfriend jokingly said, "You're not very good at this." That's when he decided to throw the remote against the wall, but the strap was still on his wrist so he yanked the strap off and threw the remote against again. You should see my family attempt to play Monopoly. WW3 almost breaks out. I was spinning the Wii remote on my finger with its strap. Made a wrong move and then that crap flew off and hit me in the shin. Had to pull it together in front of everyone during the Wii Sports party. A buddy of mine put his hand through the glass dome of my ceiling fan light while jump serving in Wii tennis. He was bleeding like crazy. He actually sells a product that clots blood immediately, and thankfully had some in his car, or we would have been at the hospital. No time for sticks. Need to finish the match. I was bowling when it slipped out my hand, cracked the TV, and shot back, causing me to fall down and break my arm. I'll try to find the x-rays because I might still have them. Back when we first came out, I was addicted to the sports tennis game and went hard at it for about 6 straight hours. Next day, torn ligament in my shoulder. Lamest injury story ever. It's okay. I bought the Mario Tennis Remastered Controls Edition. Played it basically all day. My shoulder hurt like a bee the next day. My mom slapped the pee out of my face with the controller once because she was wearing the strap but dropped the controller mid-swing during Wii tennis. You forgot to mention us poor users who had the early edition remotes with the weak straps. My injury was the heart attack I sustained during the split second the strap broke during bowling and the remote flew an inch above the screen, saving the flat screen. Haven't played bowling since. Oh boy, I hope I am not too late for this thread. When I was in 8th grade I got the Wii. I thought it was really cool and I had owned the Super Nintendo and GameCube before the Wii, and I was really excited to play. However, I'm an only child, and we had just moved from one state to another, and so I didn't get the chance to have friends to play with. So I asked my mom, who doesn't like video games, and I guess she felt bad for me. and so she said okay. I put in Wii Sports, the only game I had at the time. I loaded up the games and I asked which one my mom wanted to play. We tried tennis for a bit, and then bowling. My mom didn't want to play baseball or golf or boxing because she never knew how those sports worked. Then she said she had to go, but I was having a lot of fun, so I begged her to try one of the other ones. She said okay and we loaded up boxing. When the match started, she started punching me, not at the screen, but on my body. She thought the instructions were like normal boxing, and so you needed to hit the other person. I was clobbered by the Wii U and Nunchuk for a good 20 seconds before I got her to stop. I had bruises that didn't heal for quite a while. TLDR. Got beat up by mom. Thanks Wii boxing. When the match started, she started punching me, not at the screen, but on my body. She thought the instructions were like normal boxing, and so you needed to hit the other person. This little crap won't let me leave, so I'm just gonna beat the heck out of him. I have a Wii U. You know how sometimes you're lying down browsing your phone and then it slips out of your hands and hits you in the face? Well, that happened with that giant Wii U remote. To make things worse, I was holding it at arm's length. Not my brightest moment. I used to have a tiny, battery-powered alarm clock. I similarly gave myself a fat lip a few times setting it while lying in bed. My dad always made me wear the wrist strap, and anytime I didn't he took it away for a week. God, I hated junior year of high school. I don't see the big deal. I never used the dang wrist strap because I'm not a freaking gibbon, and excessive masturbation has given me a grip like a gorilla. As a joke, I was playing Hyrule Warriors with the Wii Remote plus Nunchuk. I immediately hit myself in my tit while shaking to try and do the combo I wanted. One does not simply make fun of Hyrule without consequences. Oddly enough, the one error that occurred while playing Wii was with the wrist strap on, but the battery compartment incorrectly fastened. Got mad at Wii Play, threw the remote at the TV, knowing it was fastened securely to my wrist. The controller harmlessly swung next to my arm, but the batteries flew out and hit the rear projection TV. Had a nice crack in the top right corner until it was retired and subsequently dismantled. I now have a nice sheet of plexiglass with a crack in the corner. Wii bowling. I get way too into it and act out all the movements. I threw my hand, the one holding the Wii remote, dramatically into the air, but I forgot about the ceiling fan. The blade smacked the crap out of my hand and I dropped the remote right on my pinky toe. At the very least, the pain in my foot distracted me from the pain in my hand. I was playing Skyward Sword. To do a spin attack, you have to move both the Wii remote and the Nunchuk at the same time, and the game informed me that I should move them both in the same direction. I said nah, what if I moved them apart, and did so. Not only did Link not attack in a whirling motion, the cord to the Nunchuk went taut, yanked the Nunchuk out of my hand, swung it around my head, and hit me in the nose. After freaking up a putt in Tiger Woods golf, I suddenly understood that the strap isn't just to keep you from accidentally throwing the remote through the TV, it's also to keep you from deliberately throwing the remote through the TV. After freaking up a putt, I did not read that as written. This one was with a strap, but it hurt us so bad I feel it still qualifies. My buddy and I were playing Tiger Woods golf just after my birthday. We were playing in my room, where I had always played before. He was about 2 inches taller than me and had a longer reach than I did by about 4ish inches. We were, and still are, super competitive and we worked up a sweat, so we turned on the fan. My first shot on a 350-yard par 4 with the wind at my back, I end up inches in front of the pin. My friend tried to outdo me and swung so hard he lost control of his hands and hit the fan blade, which was at full speed. His swing and the speed of the fan was enough to break his hand and the blade of the fan, which then flew off and hit my leg, cutting me to the bone. A cast, 10 stitches and a new fan later, we moved the Wii to the living room. Wii controller fell out of my open window and hit my neighbor on the head. The uncontrollable laughter kinda hurt my chest, I guess. Pinched a nerve in my back from Mario Super Sluggers. Had to go to the chiropractor twice a week for 3 weeks. I also smacked my father really hard on the wrist in the same game session. My brother was playing baseball without a wrist strap and hit the ball so hard that the remote flew out of his hand and cracked the TV. causing the slim speaker next to it to fall over and break my foot. My dad would just flick the remote and get 90 miles per hour pitches without breaking anyone's feet. First and only time I played on the Wii, I was playing Wii Sports with a friend. We played the tennis game for 3 hours and I swung my arm like I had an actual racket in my hand and swung hard too. Dumb idea. Arm was sore for a couple of days. I lost my vision. Playing Mario Party 8, tempers rose. My friend went behind me and pulled my glasses off my head so I was impaired. Being inexperienced in taking glasses off, she snapped them whilst doing so. Not strap related, but my wife injured her back playing Wii bowling. What's worse is she bowled in college. You'd think she'd have better form. Not me but my sister. Me and my parents went out for the night and hired a babysitter to look after them while we were gone. They got out and tatted playing something that I'm not too sure of. About 45 minutes after we left, we got a call saying we need to get home. When we got home, my youngest sister, about 6 at the time, was crying with blood over her eye. But apparently my other sister was sailing the remote with a band and let go. Hit my sister right above her eye, just missing her actual eye. She now has a scar there. My personal worst was staying up all night drinking absinthe and playing tennis and bowling. After a few hours of that, I decided boxing was a great idea. Long story short, got lightheaded, fell over, smacked my head on the coffee table. However, involving throwing the remote, I've got a second-hand story. Working at a store that sells electronics, man comes in with a 70-inch television to the returns department that has a horribly cracked screen and says he just bought it yesterday and it was like that when he got home. A manager is called due to the price of the return item for approval. Manager takes one look at it and says, "I can't take this back." The man starts to get a bit irate, but the manager immediately cuts him off and says, "Which one of your kids threw the Wii remote at the TV?" The guy stops dead in his tracks, pauses, and then says, "How did you know?" Manager replies, "My kid did the same thing to mine last month." They talked for a few minutes, were friendly, and the gentleman left with his ruined television. I was playing the Bigs baseball game and absolutely clocked my dad's co-worker's Toddler. I didn't hear or see her coming, and when I went to swing, I swung it like an actual bat. I freaking annihilated her face. She was crying and I just ran out of there like the awkward teenager I was. Luckily no one found out, but I still feel bad for her. I wouldn't be surprised if I gave the 2-year-old brain damage with that strike. Broke the ceiling fan playing the volleyball game. The glass light broke. I couldn't move because I was barefoot. The fan went on the highest setting and had to be disconnected from the power. It is now unusable and my knuckles were a little busted, but no stitches. We weren't allowed to play that anymore. Wait, that was the Kinect. Frick. Well, it wasn't an injury, but it was an accident that to this day we can't totally explain. It was an intense game of Wii bowling, and it was my turn. I stepped up, put on the wrist strap, and whipped that Wii remote up as hard as I could, expecting a strike. Instead, as my hand flew up over my head, we heard a loud thump against the wall behind the TV. Mind you, the Wii remote is still in my hand and appears completely unharmed. It turns out that when I swung the remote, the batteries somehow managed to work themselves loose, come out from under the battery cover that was firmly in the palm of my hand, and fling themselves across the room to be lost forever somewhere behind the TV stand, and the battery cover reattached itself, all without me letting go of the Wii remote. It's as if those little things became incorporeal just long enough to pass through the battery cover and my hand, hit the wall, and disappear completely. Ha, those wrist straps don't solve all the problems. We were playing Wii Sports in the basement, and we all had our wrist straps on and everything was safe. My grandfather gets a little dramatic with his motions when he plays silly games, so he was whipping his arm back and forth to hit the tennis ball as it came to his mid-eye, and everyone was having a good time, until he clipped the back of his chair. We were standing behind them staring at the TV, with the Wii remote. The batteries ejected at the same velocity as his swing, and smashed into a glass of water sitting on a table nearby, which promptly exploded and showered the carpet in glass. I hit myself in the balls playing tennis. I mean, I would have hit myself in the balls had I been wearing it anyway, but still, freaking hit myself in the bollocks. Was playing Wii golf with friends, including a crazy friend who had his arm in a cast. He was about a foot from the hole and couldn't get the Wii to register his putting motion, so I told him to flick the remote. He flicks too hard, ball rolls 20 feet away, I get beat over the head with a cast. As a young boy I loved Star Wars. Force Unleashes came out on Wii, and holy crap you could use the Wii Note as the lightsabers. Still one of the coolest things I've ever done. Ended up being insanely sore after playing for 10 hours straight. I told my sister in passing to put on the wrist strap when playing tennis. I assume she did, but when I came back out of the bathroom she went to hit the ball and the Wiimote punched me in the face from a distance. Not only did the Wiimote quit working as well, but my nose bled for a while. I was playing Wii tennis without the strap and during a backswing, I didn't grip it hard enough and the controller went sailing toward my friend's sister's face. Luckily, I grabbed the strap at the last second and saved her from a lot of pain, and subsequently, myself as well. Was playing the one ping pong game for Wii a few years ago with a bunch of friends while we were drinking of course, and I was getting into it. I was going for a full swing because for some reason I thought if I used Superman strength to swing my arm I would win the game. Turns out I was wrong. I swung up and blasted the ceiling fan. Shattered glass and panic. I had a 4-inch long gash on top of my hand. Had to go to the hospital. Told the nurse what happened. When she left the room I swear to God I heard the entire nursing staff laugh at me. I wasn't even playing it but one Christmas I got a Wii from my parents, so I kneeling behind the TV, setting it up and whatnot when suddenly the sensor comes crashing down on my head from the top of the TV as I was plugging it in. It had been blow-tacked, SP, down, to, freaking Wii. I took a backswing to the face during Wii Golf from my dad. He also broke a light fixture. Wii Golf is a dangerous sport. I threw my Wii remote into my TV playing Wii Sports Baseball. Cue 20 years of tangled cords shifting and having a wireless projector with a power cord and it got ripped out of the wall falling on my so's head who ran into the room wondering what the racket was. Unlike the screws holding the projector to the ceiling, thank God our relationship was strong. We all gathered at my little sister's the day we buried my dad. Played Wii for the first time ever. The game where you have that plastic thing in your hand and have to imitate the animation on screen. A bunch of us were in the room playing and my older sister who is a police officer walked in and grabbed a controller and crowded next to me in the middle of a game and started dancing around too. My right hand and her left hand both swung out at the same time and the plastic thing in my hand bumped into her finger and I guess it hurt a little. She punched me in the stomach and told me to watch what I was doing. I was watching the TV screen. I put on my jacket and went home. She hasn't changed. Playing Madden football for the Wii and I even was wearing the wrist strap. When I threw the ball I let go of the remote and the strap snapped off, leaving a big dent in my wall. Luckily not the TV. Probably the aftermath of what my mom did after I broke a glass chicken statue when I was playing Wii Resorts tennis. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.